Flint is determined to get Charles Vane, even if he has to go through Blackbeard to get him. And Jack Rackham is a steely-eyed missile man. It's Black Sails, Season 3, Episode 6, 24. Alright, spoilers ahead, just so you've been warned. So with this episode, we're dealing a lot with people focusing on who they are, who they really are, what is it they want, and more importantly, what is it that they're willing to do in order to get that. Now for John Silver, who's been left on the slave island community to sort of bond, solidify the connection between them and the pirates, he's dealing with an infection on his leg, something extremely painful, but he cannot show weakness. His position now is sort of the guide for Flint. He is Flint's partner in this endeavor. But in order to control the whims, the extremes that Flint can go through to kind of guide him to protect the crew, he cannot show weakness. If he shows weakness, if the men see the weakness either on the ship or on the island, that's going to start rumors, conversations going. There is not going to be the belief that he has the strength to stand up to Flint, to take that position, to guide the men at where they need to go. Therefore, he's willing to go through his own kind of torture, that own experience of pain, simply in order to show the men that he is strong enough, that he does not show weakness. Now for Flint, he wants the pirates and Vane and all of those who have given him their word that they are going to defend Nassau to now live up to it. He is alive and he is going out to pull them over to his side. Now he's already lost everything. He lost Thomas, he lost Miranda, he lost the whole vision of what it is that he was trying to do with Nassau. The English have taken everything, and now at this point they have taken his home, and that is the last straw for him. He is not going to stand up for that. It was one thing to make the English fear them, to try and keep them away from Nassau, but now that they have taken it, his job, his identity is around taking that back. And he is more than willing to face down Blackbeard in order to do it. And he does so through really nicely done beach fight. Well enough orchestrated, I think, more than really from a choreography standpoint. They did a really good job of showing the weakness of Flint, the exhaustion level, as Vane tries to tell him beforehand, you know, you've been in the doldrum for weeks, you were in a prison, you've just gotten back, you do not have the strength in order to face down a man like Edward Teach. Now Teach has been out of it for a few years, but as we've seen in the past couple of episodes, that hasn't really weakened him in any sense, and he's a large enough man that he's got a lot of strength behind him. So even if he's not at the top of his game, he's definitely dangerous enough to watch out. And so it was really nice, again, sequence between the two of them as just really Teach beating Flint down, showing his superior strength. Now Blackbeard is dying. He has a shot that he got when he was younger that is now, there's a bullet in him that is slowly moving towards his heart. So he's kind of working on a limited timetable. And what he wants is that child. He never had it from biological, so he was bringing back Vane, who he did sort of bred at his protege, had trained him, and that's where we had set him up. That is why Blackbeard was willing to go back to Nassau. That's why Blackbeard is willing to face down the English fleet, is just to pull Vane back so he can sort of establish his line, in a sense. It's not a biological line, but at least a line in training and thought and attitude. Now for Vane opening up kind of thinks that that's what he wants. He doesn't want to be trapped by the English, of course. That's why he escaped Nassau, and that's why he was willing to go with Teach, who helped him and was willing to sort of guide him out. But as Flint sort of reminded him, Vane had given his word. Vane had given an oath to defend Nassau. And Vane is an honorable pirate. That is really his basis. Again, he is feared, he is cruel, he can do all sorts of bad things, to be sure. But he is a man of his word. He does care about his placement in the world. And it's not something that he is willing to just have Blackbeard hand to him. He's not going to be told what to do, and I think being with Blackbeard, that is sort of what is given out to him. When Flint is in that dangerous position on the beach and Blackbeard is about to finish him off, I think that is why Vane steps in at that point. Is Vane realizing, I'd given my word, this is what I promised to do, and I'm going to do what I promised to do. He's not there to finish off Blackbeard. That's why he beats him, he fights him back, knocks the weapon out, they face each other, and then Charles drops his sword. He is not there to finish off Blackbeard. He is there to make his own statement. I said I was going to do this. I know I had said that I was going to go with you, but this is what I have to do. Which is also why Blackbeard doesn't finish off Vane there, and he lets Flint go. He sees that his endeavor to try and bring Charles to his side and have that, progeny son sort of established isn't going to work. He doesn't have anything against Vane necessarily. I mean, he probably feels a bit betrayed and that angers him, but he's not there to finish him off. And I also think that doing that would probably have had a negative effect on the men on the beach. Blackbeard is going to maintain the fleet. The fleet is his, but he will let Vane go. He will let Flint go so they can, as he says, get the hell off my beach. More importantly, to just move on. He doesn't want to have anything to do with them more at that point. Now for Mr. Scott, he is looking to protect his people, his family, the community that he has created. Unfortunately, with his soon-to-be death, he knows that they need the pirates in order to create a proper alliance, in order to survive moving forward. Now his daughter, having seen everything that Silver is going through, having seen that strength, has a certain fear of the pirates, and rightfully so, that these are dangerous men. But Scott tries to have her focus on is, yes, they are dangerous men, but they need us, and we need them. And the way to maintain that alliance is to focus on who the real enemy is. That, of course, being the English, or more to the point, Woodes Rogers. And also, beautiful sequence as he's telling him that she is looking through the library and pulls out the book that just has his name. So they don't need to actually specifically say his name in words. They can show the book. They can relay that meaning right there. It's just a brilliant use of film work, not always to tell everything, but sometimes just to show us. And we will go with that. Then we've got Jack Rackham. Oh, Jack has, I think, the best sequence in this episode. Now, of course, he's heading back to Nassau in order to get the pardons for him and Anne. But when he shows up, what bowls him over mostly is to see how well the island is functioning. The fact that people are repairing the fort. He had tried forever and paid the money and promised the men tons of money in order to get the fort repaired. Now they're being paid less and they're actually doing the work. And that really throws him off. But after being pulled up with Woodes and having the little discussion with them, that's when he really sees what's going on. And that last sequence between him and Max, I think, really nails it down just beautifully. How Jack is able to look and see how tenuous Woodes' victory is. And that it all really revolves around Jack. Jack and the gold, or, jewels and pearls that have been exchanged for the gold, really is focused again on him. There's only two things that can happen, is Jack doesn't give him the gold, and Woodes realizes that they can't win, takes off, and Jack is ready to step back into to Nassau where he was before. Or they kill Jack, and the Spanish come and wipe everybody out. Everyone's dead, and the island is left for the establishment of a second pirate republic, but every pirate there will know that it was Jack Rackham that did that. Jack, really at this point, his legacy is all that he has, and he's at a point where he can shape that legacy as he wishes. The main thing that he has to do is to keep the gold away from Woodes. Jack's willing to sacrifice himself. He is really looking at the bigger picture. He knows that if he just gives in, then no one will know the name of Jack Rackham. If he holds out, regardless of what happens, he establishes himself in a legacy viewpoint that his name is going to mean something strong. Now, that is a man who knows who he is and knows what he wants and is willing to go as far as you can go in order to get it. Like I said, Jack Rackham is a steely-eyed missile man. So as we wrap up the episode, we've got Flint and Vane heading back to Nassau. And that's where Vane gets to drop that little bit of nugget he got from the Spanish intelligence ship, that some of the gold had been converted. Now they don't say who has it. The Spanish don't necessarily know who has it, but I'm sure that Flint and Vane can figure it out. So this is all going to come down to a hunt for Anne Bonny. Whoever can find her first and find the gold first gets to determine the direction all of this goes moving forward from here. And we're going to have to wait until next week to find that out. Come on back. Press like if you enjoyed my little conversation here. Certainly feel free to subscribe. Join us every week. Comments in the section below, always appreciated. We've only got a handful of episodes left before this wraps up, so we're probably going to be barreling further and faster and harder towards the end. Come on back and we will be chatting about it right here. I'm D and I am out of here. Y'all take it easy now. Bye-bye.